welcome to Vine's View. In the summer of 1994, a small group of people sat around a kitchen table, much like we are here today, and discussed how to create a safe and effective way for people to help their neighbors. And thus, Vine Faith in Action began by developing a simple organization where volunteers who wanted to help were matched with people who needed a helping hand. Throughout the years, the organization has grown to fit the needs of those looking to age to the max, caring for themselves and others regardless of their years or means. Vine provides older adults with services directed at keeping them happy, healthy, and living independently in their own home for as long as possible. These services include chores, transportation, peer mentoring, Meals on Wheels, medical equipment loan, caregiver support, and social, educational, health, and fitness opportunities. Each month, we will be showcasing a different program or service that Vine offers in the greater Mankato community. This month, we are going to be talking about the Vine Chore program. With us today, we have Adam and Doug from Vine and Vine volunteer Larry. Welcome, gentlemen. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Vine Chore program?
Sure. The Vine Chore program started in 1995 with the inception of Vine. Pam would sometimes close the office and go out and rake someone's yard or something like that. She'd coordinate volunteers to clean gutters, do shoveling, those sorts of things.
And how many people were kind of at the beginning of Vine, staff and volunteers
In the
included?
very beginning, Pam was the only staff person, and she'd enlist her family to help her with the chores.
Whether they wanted to or not.
Whether they wanted to or not.
Cool. So now the chore program has obviously grown. Doug, since you are in charge of the chore program, can you tell us a little bit about all the different services that the chore program offers in the community?
Well, we do a lot of different things. Most predominantly would be lawn mowing and snow removal are probably our two biggest efforts. But beyond that, we do things from gutter cleaning to simple things in the home for people that they're no longer able to do. For instance, it might just be changing batteries in a smoke detector. Or installing grab bars, so that they're able to get up and down, or use in their bathrooms, wherever it might be. We do a lot of those types of things, helping people in their gardens, where they need spring cleanup or fall cleanup. We do trimming of hedges, to trimming of trees at a lower level, not very high up, but washing windows, cleaning windows, just a lot of different things, just a variety of things, for things that folks can't or cannot no longer do physically like they used to be able to do. And to try to help them be able to maintain, living in their homes, and living there with in such a way that they're okay with, keeping up with certain things in their homes that they want to take care of, that they used to be able to do themselves. So that's a big part of our chores program.
And it's you as a staff member as well as volunteers, correct?
That's right. And our volunteers are the backbone of the program. Without the volunteers, we can't continue to go on and do this for our community. So volunteers are always needed and wanted for the survival of the chores program itself.
And Larry, you're one of our awesome volunteers that we have. How did you hear about Vine, and why did you decide to get involved with the chores program?
Well, I guess originally I heard about Vine before I moved to Mankato 3 years ago, but I didn't know a great deal about it and what it all represented. And I came from a farm and I wanted to stay active, and I thought about getting a full-time job, and then I didn't want to be that committed. And the Vine volunteer program really fell in well for me because I could come and go as I wanted. If I wanted to take a week off, I could. And basically it's just worked out real easy for me.
So what sort of things do you help with typically?
Well, originally I started at the store and did a few repairs for Dave. And then Doug got a hold of me and gave me a shovel this winter, and we shoveled snow all winter. But I did have I was fortunate enough to miss the last 3.
We had a little bit of snow this year, didn't we?
We did.
And we do have a few pictures I'd like to share, if possible, with our chore program, kind of highlighting some of the work that we've done with the chore program. If we can get those up on the screen. Oh, perfect, they're already up. So this is one of our Vine volunteers who was helping with, it looks like, installing a grab bar. Mowing, that's a big thing. I know this summer has been maybe a little bit more work than average. And that could have been Larry right there shoveling. And window washing as well. And doing some basic yard work. So most of the time, Doug, would you say, this is obviously a big group of volunteers that are helping, but most of the time with the chore program, is it you and a single volunteer, or do you get groups of volunteers?
Well, we have both. And our volunteers come from a variety of different sources, and Adam is more in tune with that than I am. But we do get volunteering groups from businesses in the community that are able to set it up so that their employees can donate 3-4 hours in the course of a day. And when we have those, we are able to go out and take on some of the bigger projects. Like you saw that group of people that were doing the yard work. That would be an example of where we would utilize that, that size group to go out and take on a little bit, bigger tasks. And quite often we will have also individuals, like Larry will help us with, snow removal in the winter time, and there's other people too that do that, where, they're more on call depending upon weather.
Yep.
And those are really valuable to our program, valuable to me. So we also get a lot of volunteers from students from the various colleges in Mankato. They all are sometimes looking for volunteer opportunities to get involved in the community and do something, some payback into the community. So it's really nice to have those volunteer groups. And I think Adam can probably talk to that a little bit more than me, but yeah.
So how does someone, if they're interested in volunteering, that's kind of where you come into play, Adam, what do they have to do to sign up?
A lot of our volunteers go through an orientation. We have one each month, and they pass background checks to make sure that, the people that they're working with are maybe frail or older, and we want to protect them. So our volunteers go through a background check. And after that, I pass their name on to Doug, and Doug coordinates the volunteers. Some of the larger groups don't necessarily have to do background checks if they're out doing yard work at someone's home, and we have someone from Vine supervising that group.
So there's always a Vine staff member with a volunteer group at a home?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess, are there any qualifications that you're specifically looking for to help with the chores program? Or, obviously, Larry, you said you had a background in farming, so you're used to fixing things all the time. Does someone have to have a background like that, or could somebody who's maybe never had any experience doing those things sign up and help?
Anyone can sign up, anyone who's interested.
Okay.
There's no real qualifications.
Is there an age qualification?
There may be an age requirement to use like lawnmowers and electrical equipment like that, but otherwise anyone can volunteer.
Okay. And are you looking for, you kind of mentioned that on-call volunteer versus the, kind of one-time groups, Doug. Are you looking for kind of one over the other, or do you need both where, Larry, you said you take some time off here and there when you need to. Is that okay if a volunteer maybe can only volunteer a few times? Or are you kind of looking for more of a consistent volunteer?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Both are very valuable because in Larry's case, he is kind of watching the weather with us in the winter time, and we get over 2 inches of snow. We know we're going to be doing snow removal and maybe 35 residences, in Mankato, and so it's really nice to be able to call Larry and say, hey, it looks like we're going to probably get started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he says I'll be there, and that's really nice. Other than that, I try not to bother Larry too much because that's so valuable. But on the other hand, I also have volunteers that will work 4 to 6 hours every single week, and I can plan on going out and doing jobs maybe with one other person besides me, and that's really good. And then you talked about the bigger groups. How does that work? That also is invaluable, and maybe it's a one-time deal, or maybe once a quarter, or once a year, or once every 6 months or so. A bank in town will say that they have 4 or 5 volunteers and they can come next week, Wednesday, for 4 hours. It's something like that, yes, because it seems like we always are able to, I'm not saying always, but when we get those, we're able to really take care of some of the larger tasks that we have. And I know I've said that before, but the value of that is invaluable. It's really a great thing to have that. And we're always hopeful that we can get those types of groups to keep on helping us out and helping the community out, really. It's the service to the community. Yep.
So I guess away from volunteers, how does someone sign up to receive those services?
All the people who receive chores from Vine go through an intake process. Someone from our staff would go out to their home and visit with them, sign them up, fill out some basic information about them, and sometimes, if necessary, they'll assess the need. If someone wants lawn mowing, the staff from Vine might look to see how big their yard is. If they need a light bulb changed, that's not something that they would assess, but the intake process is the same for everyone.
Okay.
We provide chores for people who are over 65 or those who have a physical disability.
Okay. And how long does the intake process take approximately?
It kind of depends on situations, but between a half hour to an hour, somewhere in there.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
With that intake process, the staff from Vine, they also talk about other services that Vine offers, transportation, meals, respite care, all those things as well.
So after they go through the intake process, how soon will they find out if they do qualify and will be able to receive those services?
It might depend if we're really busy in the fall or the spring, but we try to get them to them as soon as possible. I would write up a chore request, give it to Doug. Doug calls the person and schedules something, usually within a week or so.
Okay. Larry, do you have any fun stories you can share with us of your volunteering experiences?
Well, not really fun stories, but it's been interesting because it seems like whenever we went out, whether we had a shovel or a snowblower, I always managed to end up with a shovel on the steps.
How did that happen,
Which
Doug?
isn't a bad deal.
But they at least provided the shovel for you, right?
They did.
They didn't make
did.
you bring your
but
own
I
shovel.
also brought my own along.
Oh, you
just
did?
in case.
I guess, Larry, could you share with us your favorite part of volunteering with Vine?
Well, basically, I guess it's just to be able to help people that aren't able to, or they don't have the means to do certain things. And Age Enter's one of those programs where they can't shovel snow, or we need to keep the snow off the steps and things like that. So yeah, there's satisfaction there.
So you're not just doing it because you love snow then?
No, in fact, I don't like winter, but that's all right. Yeah.
If someone told you they were interested in volunteering, I guess, what would you tell them about Vine and the chore program?
Well, depending on what they wanted to do, I think Vine will cater to just about anything you want to do, from what I've found out anyway.
Yeah, there's
And
other
a lot of
opportunities.
times shoveling snow, they'd say, well, you sure you want to go, keep going? And, or you can go home. Doug would say, you're volunteering. You can go home anytime. So it's a very good organization. It's quite flexible as far as your volunteering goes. So.
And it's kept you active and
Oh, yeah.
engaged.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Well, another big event a volunteering opportunity we have coming up is Rake the Town. And every year we've done that. This year it's going to be on November 10th. And you need a heck of a lot of volunteers for that, don't you, Adam?
Yes, we do.
Can you talk a little bit about what is Rake the Town?
Sure. So as with our chore program, to qualify for Rake the Town, you should be 65 plus or physically disabled. And we rake the leaves on that one day, November 10th this year. We rake all the leaves that are requested of us. We rake them to the curb. The city comes and picks them up. In some places, we do bag the leaves if the city is not, going there to pick up leaves. We serve people in Blue Earth and Nicollet counties for our chore program and for Rake the Town. So if you live in Nicollet or somewhere else, we do provide those services there as well. People would just call us at Vine. We'd arrange an intake process if they have not received services from Vine before. And once the intake is completed, you're on the list. We send you some literature about Rake the Town. Rake the Town is a donation-based service. So we just ask that you give a donation for the services that the volunteers provide.
Okay. So the Chores program is not a donation-based service then?
That's correct.
Okay.
If you're getting chores, we have a fee for that.
Okay.
But Rake the Town is a donation-based.
Gotcha. And as far as the volunteers go, do those volunteers for Rake the Town have to go through the same process, the volunteer orientation, already have to be a Vine volunteer and do the background check, or is it a little bit different for this event?
That's a little bit different for this event. We have about 700 or so volunteers, and a lot of college groups, they sign up. So there's no orientation required. There's no background check required for Rake the Town.
Okay.
Because they're out in the yards raking.
And you have people from all ages that can
All
help
ages.
on that.
It's a real family-friendly event. We have kids, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, lots of different groups, adults, anyone really.
Now, what if it rains or snows?
Does
the event still go on?
We will still rake, rain, sun, or snow.
We're hoping for sun this year.
Yes, we are. One year we did rake in the snow,
Yep.
but we do it, so.
And how long has Rake the Town been going on? Do you know?
I believe it's probably since the beginning.
Okay.
Pam's told me she's closed the office and had her boys, do some raking for people.
Yep.
And I think that
On a smaller scale, maybe.
Rake the Town kind of grew out of that. Her family said, we need more help, and so volunteers got involved.
Okay.
Last year we raked about 160 homes, and we had about 700 volunteers.
Okay. And this time it's not necessarily supervised by Doug, because obviously Doug can't be everywhere on that day.
That's right.
So it's more people come in, get their information, where they need to go, what they need to rake,
Yes.
and they're not supervised. They're just going out in the community and
Yes.
helping those neighbors.
Yes.
Okay. And Doug, you're involved with Rake the Town too. I guess, what are you doing on that day?
Oh, wow. Well, we take several of the larger service groups, and we concentrate on a particular area in town where there's a lot of leaves falling on the ground. and we take on a pretty big community area. I mean, it's okay to say where we go? Or,
Oh, yeah.
We go to Eastwood Manor or Eastwood Village, right?
The mobile home park.
Yeah, mobile home park, and there's a lot of folks there that need some help, and so we help them. But usually in that area alone, the last few years, we've gotten college groups come and help us. I would say the neighborhood of maybe 50
Probably.
people raking, and I'm not even sure how many people that are benefiting. Homes are raking. It's got to be at least that many as well. It's a lot of different places up there that we take care of, and we get all that organized. So it's a big organizing effort just in that, in that Eastwood Manor itself. So that's what, and then afterward, when that is done, when we're done with that, I will be doing cleanup and running around town, and whatever odds and ends need to be taken care of, that be my responsibility.
And if someone doesn't have a rake, you guys will provide rakes for them, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And I guess, how long is the day for raking typically? What time does it begin and typically wrap up?
Raking starts around 9 o'clock in the morning, and we kind of go until it's done, usually around 3 or so. Doug and the chore staff might go a little bit longer that day, depending on, some homes get missed, so there's kind of a cleanup process.
Sure. And we talked a lot about groups volunteering, but if an individual doesn't have a group, can they still sign up to help?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
They just would give us a call at Vine, and that's true for any group, and just let us know that they want to help, and we'll sign them up. Usually, if an individual signs up, we put them with other individuals, and so they make their own group.
So they're not out there raking
So
a
they're
big yard by themselves.
Yes, we want it to be fun, so
Yeah.
we're not going to send one person to a huge yard.
Yeah. And if someone has like a blower or something, could they bring that to a house, or does it have to be rakes only?
It could potentially work. We'd like to talk to them about it beforehand, though.
Make sure they know what they're doing.
Yes. And some homeowners just have a small yard and a blower wouldn't work. But it's possible.
So after all the raking is done, I guess, how do you thank the volunteers?
All the volunteers are invited to a luncheon at St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church in West Mankato. And there's food and just a lot of fellowship, and we thank them at that time.
And there are some other volunteer opportunities as well. If someone is not maybe interested in raking, they could help at the church. Is that right?
Yes, there are a few opportunities to serve food. So there are some opportunities at the church.
But you're looking for mainly
Mostly
people to rake.
rakers out in the community.
Okay. And we do have some photos that we can share of previous years of Rake the Town, just to kind of give people an idea of kind of what to expect. The first photo that we have here is at the church where we're feeding everybody. This is kind of after people have gotten done, they come in and they don't have to come at a specific time, correct?
That's right.
Lunch is open for a while.
Open.
And they just get a nice warm meal to help warm them up. As you can see, these people look a little chilly. And I think this is actually from last year at the mobile home park you were talking about, Doug, if I'm not mistaken. This is another group. I believe this was Loyola from last year. And I guess going back to that one photo, I see the tarp. Is that something that you provide as well to help kind of bring the leaves to the curb, or just rakes?
We do also have tarps available if in some areas of town the city won't pick up the leaves, like Skyline and La Hillier and some of the mobile home parks. So we provide bags as well if bags are needed.
Okay. Otherwise, they just go to the curb, right?
That's right. And we provide detailed instructions to the groups as well.
So I know here's a picture of kind of those bagged leaves. So they get bagged and then brought to dump sites like this, correct?
Yes.
Oh, and that was our last photo. Larry, how many people are in your group that you're bringing for Rake the Town?
In my group?
Yeah, I heard that you had a
I don't know
superstar
if
group.
I can get anybody to come rake leaves or not, but
You're more interested in the snow then.
well, I have my own yard to work in and a garden to clean up, but I guess I never got involved with rake the leaves, although I'm not opposed to it at all. If I'm available, I'll be available.
You'll help out. This is the
Sure.
peer pressure part where we're
Yeah.
making you get involved.
I don't know if I can bring anybody with me as this thing.
Doug, is there anything else you'd like to add about the chore program that we might have missed?
I guess, the big thing is just to understand that the chore program is an outreach program of Vine out into the community to help folks in their homes, and just so that people know that, if they have a question, would we do this or would we do that, the best way to find out is just to call into Vine, the main office, and you'll probably end up speaking with Adam, and Adam will be able to have an answer for you, and if he doesn't right away, he'll talk with me and we'll determine if we're able to perform the chore or not. So, so don't be afraid to call and ask, because I talk to a lot of people, you know, say, you know, we're mowing a yard or something like that, and I'll be talking to the homeowner, and they will know some of the different services that we provide. And I'll encourage them to call Adam, and then, yeah, and then maybe we go back and we perform that task for them in their home or whatever else it might be. So just ask, you know, call up and ask.
And can you talk a little bit, do you have any good stories? I guess you're the one that is out and about the most with individuals. Not naming names.
No, I think one of the things I see, people come out and when they volunteer, you know, they're volunteering for a variety of different reasons. And the one thing at the end of the day, it's really, it's gratifying for me always to be able to be out in the community helping people out. And I get to know people because we go back to a lot of people's homes over and over again, so you get to know people, and that's very rewarding for me. And but when we have volunteers coming out and helping, and they're doing something, and the homeowner will come out and, you know, just they're so grateful, so thankful for the help. And some of these things we take for granted, you know, and you can just see how it lifts, you know, the volunteer up, and they go like, wow, I'm really glad I did that. You know, it's that old saying, you get back more than you give.
Yep.
And I think that's really true with volunteering. And when you hear it from the folks that are, you know, receiving that gift of volunteering, I think it makes a big difference.
It's a win-win for both.
I just would encourage people to, if you're able to get involved in anything.
And maybe start with Rake the Town as a one-time commitment. You don't have to go through the whole process. And if you really enjoyed that, maybe look at getting more involved.
Yeah, sure.
Good way to get your feet wet. Adam, anything we missed on Rake the Town or the chore program that you'd like to add?
Just if you're interested, give us a call, as Doug said, and we'll try to help.
Larry, you want to add anything else?
No, I have nothing more.
All right.
Larry's got nothing.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you'd like to learn more about Vine's chore program, please visit vinevolunteers.com or call 507-387-1666. Thanks for tuning in today, neighbor. We'll see you next time.